Good evening. My name is Sue Scott. I'm a volunteer with Edina Indivisible, and welcome to tonight's Meet the Candidates series. This is a place where we invite friends and neighbors to meet candidates for insightful conversations. So tonight, this is one in a series of conversations we're having with candidates for the Edina City Council. This evening, joining us is Ukasha Kane. So welcome, Ukasha. This is the second night of candidates that we've chatted with. You'll find our interviews with the previous three candidates, Carolyn Jackson, James Pierce, and Janet Katui on our Edina Indivisible Facebook page. We will be hosting Joshua Alberg at 6:30 next Wednesday, the 16th at 6:30. And we're working to schedule a night for the remaining candidates, so stay tuned for information on that. We will start with some prepared questions that we posed to all the candidates, but feel free to add your questions in the chat, which is the little bubble down at the bottom. And also feel free to ask questions on our live stream on Facebook. We have folks monitoring that will get your feedback, get your questions to me. We will be sure to share contact information for Ukasha at the end of this conversation if you have any follow-up questions for him. A reminder that Edina Indivisible is a grassroots group committed to encouraging civic engagement in our community and holding our representatives accountable in passing progressive and inclusive policies on a local and national level. So thanks for joining us, and thanks Ukasha for being with us.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask you to start with just a brief introduction about who you are and why you're running for City Council.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, all of you. Thank you, Edina Indivisible, for inviting me to this amazing platform and forum as well. First of all, my name is Ukasha Kane, and I am an Edina citizen. I'm an Edina resident who have been living here for the last almost close to 7 years. I'm running for Edina City Council to bring a strong voice that will ensure all voices are heard. I'm not a politician, but I am a deeply passionate resident whose children are growing here. And I want to do my part to make Edina a premier place and actually keep Edina a premier place to work, raise a family, retire, and also live. Edina is an amazing place. So the word Edina itself translates, the pronunciation of Edina in my native language translates to our home, a translation that's fitting when I think about all Edina have done for me and for my wife as we raised our two beautiful daughters. And that's why I want to serve this amazing place that became a second home for me and for my family. I am an empathetic listener and also a community leader, and I've been involved in Edina for as much as I can. Right now, currently I'm serving on Edina's Energy and Environment Commission. I am a CEO of a nonprofit organization that works within Edina and also in Twin Cities area. I've been touching the life of many young people and low-income families. Whether it's like helping them find stability, helping them integrate with the communities that they are living in, and I have that experience and skill set that I'm bringing in with right now. So the main reason that I was running for Edina City Council and that brought me to this campaign is simply 4 questions. This is, does Edina City Council have a diverse voice? Is the Edina City Council, or is the City of Edina physically responsible? And is it meeting the ends or the expectation of residents? Does Edina have or uses a decision-based data approach or an evidence-based decision-making process when it comes to decisions that impact residents in Edina? And the 4th thing is, does Edina have a climate action plan? These are questions that are important and they need our time and attention as well as we try to navigate through these complicated times of, like climate crisis, economic uncertain times, pandemic, and as well as we make this city to remain a premier place to live and raise a family. I also believe that my perspective as a young millennial, a person with a working class background, someone with a small business ownership background, and a father, also my perspective need to be represented in Edina City Council. So that's why I'm running.
Great, thank you. As you look at the current members of the Edina City Council, what things do you think they have been doing well? And what are areas that you think that if you were to be elected to the City Council that you could improve?
Yes, the current City Council, they're doing awesome job. I've been sitting down with amazing City Council members, Kevin, Ron Anderson. I've met Jim Hovland. So the council and the mayor are doing a great job right now, and I like the fact that they're, making decisions with the right professionalism that we as a resident deserve. And also having we can do better Edina or better together Edina as a means of communication is awesome. But the things that I need to see being improved in Edina City Council is the way we communicate with residents, whether it's getting inputs. Sometimes, in life, we really need to listen. So I feel like the City Council needs to do more listening and going out to the communities that their decision is impacting, to the residents, all residents of Edina. And in that way, we will ensure all voices are heard. So by hosting either town halls or listening campaigns, or, like right now, it's awesome. I've been partaking in one of the work with a councilman or work with a mayor, which is awesome. That's awesome. It's a great idea. But how are we, kind of collaboratively, strengthening that, to ensure that all voices are heard? When I say all voices, that means how can we having the voices of physically challenged people, represented in that kind of efforts? How are we ensuring the voices of those who are, speaking, doesn't speak English, or those who have, cultural or language or technology barriers, participating in those kind of efforts? How our elders are participating on that? So ensuring, more better communication and also more better reach out to residents. It's what I think I need to see or we all need to see in the Edina City Council improving.
So as an extension of that question, I think one of the real challenges for any elected official is how do they personally stay engaged with the community? How do you as an individual, as a council member, make sure that you are hearing from a wide array of constituents so that you have a sense of what are the priorities of your constituents, what are the areas of contention or controversy?
Okay, so how I will be engaging?
How are you going to make sure that you're hearing from your constituents?
Okay, yes, I actually, it's something that I have been implementing in my whole career. Running a nonprofit organization have taught me the best leadership ever, where I have to get the inputs of those who donated their time, and also the inputs of the residents and all the participants that we have been impacting their life. Same as to the city government. I mean, how are we reaching out to the residents that we have been impacting their lives? Right now, I was serving on the Energy and Environment Commission, and I've been thinking on ways we can collaboratively engage all residents. So I have started something called Iskashi. Iskashi is a Somali word that means collaboration. So I've started that effort in a park where communities all residents of Edina can come together to collaboratively talk about the sustainability, climate. And, in that way, we get to realize the talents of our communities. And, I've started that because I personally, I was in that situation where before I came to the before I came to the commission, I was figuring out ways I can be engaged and involved, and I reach out to the city coordinators and like city managers. How can I be engaged and involved? And I was so passionate about the environment. I had a group of women, all from the refugee community or the immigrant community, who have been working on an initiative that was really great initiative of like substituting the plastic bag usage with a tote bag. So these women were from the underserved communities, and they needed their voice to make to the council and also testify in there and talk to the council about like ways we can put some taxation on the plastic bags. So my wife was leading those efforts, and I was centered. I was the communicator guy in that group, like, hey, Ukasha, can you figure it out ways we can do that? And I was just reaching out to the city, sending emails, and then finally I figured it out. There's something called Edina's Energy and Environment Commission, which I later applied and then volunteered my time. And then how can I pay that efforts that embodied me to be on that commission? And I've collaboratively alongside with residents, created this Kashi where we listen and also go out to the communities and figured out things on the sustainability lens. On December, I also hosted Tea and Talk. Like it was a tour all across Edina. So in the cold weather of December, the Tea and Talk was offering the tea, the Somali tea, which was really delicious and spicy, on our conversations like immigration. How can we improve the safety of our community? How can we, work together and integrate our communities? So those are the things that I've worked on in the past. This year, I was leading the Conflict Resolution Minnesota Conference Committee, of which I also shifted their way of, making decision from their own circles to a community-oriented solution making. So what I've done is I brought the whole conference to the community where they will get the inputs and decisions in a community perspective. And, the great thing is we had a huge number of community turnouts, like people coming into the conference and redesigning their own programs or their own webinars, whether it's like, how can we heal the divide? How can we heal the political divide? How can we heal the faith divide? And all those kind of great topics. And it used to be a one-day conference, but now it's a year-long conference. So those leadership experiences, those events that I've hosted in the past actually give me the ability to use the bigger lens when it comes to engaging the communities in different perspectives and ways.
It sounds like the environment is a key issue for you. And
yes.
Your service on the Energy and Environment Commission.
Yep.
Based upon your work there, what do you see as the kind of the top of the priority list for the city of Edina in terms of not only reducing the carbon footprint of the city, but also being prepared to manage the impact of climate change?
Yes. So my priority in that topic is to actually, first of all, have the climate action plan, which cities like St. Louis Park or any other city has it. So I want to work together with the council members and the residents and the commission itself to collaboratively fashion and continue the climate action conversation, where we will be having a task force that will be involving residents, stakeholders, community leaders in climate. So when we think about climate, the crisis and the climate effects are evident in our neighborhoods right now, whether it's, like having the stormwater or, floodings in our neighborhoods or in our backyards, or, feeling the heat of the sun, or even if we go to as far as the nationwide, we have been experiencing all those effects firsthand. And it's this generation that can do something about it. So if this generation doesn't work something, like in this time and day and age, then I think we will be in a problem. This year we hosted we hosted a conversation where the theme was like, we have been a war refugee and we don't want to be a climate refugee. And that was kind of hitting us hard. I mean, when we think about, communities that have experienced what refugees means, how can they, step forward to actually protect our environment? And we are all from a background where climate and environmental sustainability wasn't a priority. And this is, the things, that we do right here in Edina to ensure our priority is number first, so that we can, prevent the problems in future. So climate is a number one thing. So how can we ensure that? How are we enforcing our tree ordinances? How are we ensuring that how are we ensuring our storm water management? All those are great questions that we need to collaboratively work on right now to prioritize as we, tackle the climate crisis that's real.
Great. I'm going to pair these two questions. These are, I think most people agree, these are big challenges for the city of Edina. One is, how do we develop a larger pool of affordable housing? And in that larger picture of development, there's been lots of discussion and lots of controversy about various types of development projects in the city in the last couple of years. Much of that controversy is centered around more high-end housing, but with a fair amount of pushback on the particular high-rise apartment and condo buildings. Some real concerns about that. So in that basket of development, how does the city find ways to increase the amount of affordable housing that we have, and then manage the push for development in ways that fit with and are consistent with the character of the city?
Yeah, actually, that's a good question. And affordable housing is one of my priorities as well, because as someone from a working class background, or someone who have been a beneficiary of affordable housing, growing up, I've been in affordable housing. I totally understand the benefit and the value of that. So how can we as a city promote that? Or how can we, actually advocate for that? So I think, first of all, through the listening process that I've been doing, one of the topics that we really need to discuss as a community is the affordable housing. And one thing I believe is that we can improve our existing affordable housing measures that the city is right now having in plan, as well as to also increase those numbers in a way that it can support our working class families. This is unprecedented time. We never expected that there will be a pandemic that will affect and shift our daily living and the way we will be working. Many families are being affected right now. There's those families who are living in a rental. These families who have been living in a high renting spaces. And right now, as someone who have been providing first-hand services to these families, I've seen an increased need of, affordable housing. I've been helping many families in Edina apply to the Minnesota Housing Rental Assistance. And I can see that personally firsthand, the need of affordable housing is higher as we navigate through these economic uncertain times. But how we can increase affordable housing actually means how we can collaboratively fashion to come up with an idea which can support affordable housing. Personally, I think working with nonprofits that will be, kind of refashioning or, giving a subsidized housing vouchers to sustain families, and also to incentivizing how will I say that? Yeah, that. So
Incentivizing, it's a
yep,
tough one.
yep, yeah. The development and how we can, like count on every developer or every development that we make certain number of units to be affordable housing. These families I know who are living right next to 50th and France, and these families as well who are living in all across Edina that have been beneficiary of affordable housing. My family was part of that, and so we can continue those kind of plan and also engage neighbors in a balanced way of promoting affordable housing while we keep the single family household or the civic character in a good shape.
You've talked about what you see as the importance of making sure that you are, if you're a member of the city council, listening to a wide array of voices from the community. I think one of the challenges that Edina faces is the ability to include a diverse number of people in the conversation and decisions that the city makes, and to make sure that that city opportunities and services are provided equitably. So then, under that umbrella of diversity, equity, and inclusion, what do you see as the challenges, and what would you bring to those challenges?
Yes, when we talk about the diversity, equity, and inclusion, it all wraps around the affordable housing. How are we, kind of supporting diverse neighbors? How are we celebrating their differences, or how are we celebrating our differences as we come together on a common ground? So I think we actually need to foster our ways of communication when we really need to include or to be inclusive. This whole process itself of having, like a diverse city council is also part of that equity, bringing all voices into the table. So I actually think that giving the opportunity to all residents is what we can call fairness or equitable. As well as like bringing all voices to the table. So yes, so it's like keeping all voices on the table, and as well improving our policies for equitable sharing.
Okay. We're coming up on the last couple minutes of our time together. So can you give our viewers and listeners a brief kind of closing statement of why should we vote for you?
Yes, that's a good thing. So earlier today, I asked a few questions. Number one was, does the city of Edina have a diverse voice? No, we don't have a diverse voice, and I believe that I will be that diverse voice. One, I have the experience and skills. Two, I'll bring perspective in different, like ways, or in different, like past experiences that have been. Three, I am someone with a working class background, and I believe that my perspective as a small business owner, someone with a working class background, someone with, like who is from the millennial age range, need to be represented in the Edina City Council. So the other question I asked was, is the city of Edina fiscally responsible and transparent? When we are talking about the physical responsible, is how are we using the city funds? Are we, like kind of, transparent enough? Right now, the city has a debt, which I think we all should be talking about. How are we, like seeing, and this was before COVID-19. So how are we responsibly or physically, like responsiveness, or using the funds to improve our, like infrastructure? How are we, like improving our education and quality of life in Edina using that, and, like in an evidence or decision-making process? So the other question is, do we have a climate action plan? No, we don't have a climate action plan. And with the experience right now that I've been getting, and like my skills of collaboratively working with neighbors to collaboratively create improved policies and solutions, I think we can both, or all of us, create a climate action plan that will be good for our city. So with all those, I'm uniquely, candidate, and I'm asking for your vote as I bring all this diverse and strong voice that will be representing the Edina, the great Edina that we have seen.
Thank you very much. Ukasha, what I have for you is a website for people that would like to follow up with questions is ukasha4edina.com. Is that correct?
Yes. So the website is ukasha4edina.com. And then for the Facebook, it's UKASHA 4 Edina. So Ukasha 4 Edina. Yep.
So easy to find you in both places.
Yep, in both places. And then if someone or if any of the residents can send me or wants to send a question to me, they can send it to my email, which is ukasha4edina@gmail.com.
You are very consistent
Yes.
in your addresses. That's great. Ukasha, thank you for joining us. Thank you very much for running. Your input is really valuable. So just a couple of closing things. Thank you to our viewers for tuning in. A couple of things we'd like you to remember is to make sure you have a plan to vote, be it by absentee ballot, early in-person voting, or on election day itself. But make sure you do that. If you're doing it in person, do it safely. And if you haven't done so already, please make sure you have filled out your census form. So thank you everybody for joining us, and thanks again, Ukasha. Have a good evening.
Thank you all. Thanks.
Thank you.
You too.